Take it away.
皆さんおはようございます。私の名前はクライント静香です。こちらはレックさんです。誕生日は1996年12月12日、広島県出身でバレーボールの石川祐希選手が大好きです。As you can see, I'm not from here. I was born and raised in Japan, Hiroshima, which is far from here in the United States. I realized how I am blessed to be here and study as I went through that textbook and this chapter. So today we are going to talk about my educational experience, the AIDS epidemic and how it affected those around the world, and education for undeveloped countries. Let me talk about my personal educational experience in Japan first. August 6th is important for me, just as 9/11 for you. I have been educated that just one single nuclear weapon would destroy everything that we have. So my concern is, now that there are about 164,000 nuclear weapons in the world, what if one of them were accidentally exploded or used as a means of terrorism? It would definitely affect us because the power of single bomb used for Hiroshima was less than a fraction of nuclear weapons that we have today. During the Cold War, the United States and Soviet Union increased its number of nuclear weapons for the sake of their national security and their national interests. However, it gave reasons for another countries such as France, the UK, and China to develop and possess nuclear weapons as well. And these nuclear weapons have power to affect on the global world, not only politically, but also environmentally. As I was raised in Hiroshima, I came to be interested in nuclear issues, and I decided to come to study here since the studies of nuclear issues are much advanced in the United States than Japan. I can be here because people in the United States and Japan educated their children not to hate and revenge, but to help each other since the World War II.
Now imagine a random plague back in the mid-late 1900s that was just randomly killing people in Europe and Africa, and no one knew what was happening. The research has shown that this was the AIDS virus. The AIDS virus, or the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, is the last part of the HIV virus, which is the human immunodeficiency virus. Research has shown that back in, I believe, the 1800s, there were hunters that were going to Africa and they started killing monkeys, and when they ate the monkeys' meat and everything like that, some of them had the HIV virus. And when they ate it, humans end up getting the virus since we have evolved and adapted since then. We now get the virus. This HIV virus attacks the human immune system, and it makes it weaker and weaker and weaker, and attacks CD4 cells. And there's no cure to get rid of this, and it is permanent. We can only slow down the effects by going to HIV testing sites and getting tested positive or negative for it. Person I'd like to bring up is Irving Magic Johnson. He is an NBA legend with the Lakers, 5-time championships, Showtime Lakers. In the year of 1992, his career had to be cut short due to AIDS, and this not only saddened the NBA family, but this was a huge problem. However, he ended up paying, I believe, millions and millions of dollars just to get this AIDS virus removed from his system. So I guess it can be removed, I just don't know how.
So firstly, let me talk about Rwanda. I don't know whether you know where Rwanda is located. Rwanda is in Africa. Rwanda has history. There was a genocide in 1994. A dictator killed teachers and those who were wearing glasses first before he conducted genocide. Since glasses symbolize that they're educated, However, today the word Rwanda is no longer a synonymous with misery and death. The average life expectancy is 65 years, up from 48 in 1990, according to World Health Organization. The percentage of children dying before their 5th birthday has fallen markedly from 253 per 1,000 in 1995 to 55 per 1,000 in 2012. Most Rwandans have health insurance. There is almost universal access to basic education. According to UNICEF, Rwanda has the highest primary school enrollment rate in Africa. For both boys and girls, it's on track to achieve universal access to primary education by 2012-15. Since people in Rwanda educated their children so that the tragedy will never happen again, now Rwanda is economically growing rapidly, and its growth owes to their education from the situation that nothing was left by genocide. I met the educator from Rwanda a few years ago. She said that teaching writing, reading, and arithmetic is basically important. But most important education that people in Rwanda have done is to show and teach forgiveness. Forgiveness is much powerful than hatred. It will never be easy as much as we think, because their neighborhood might kill their husbands or fathers, and they have to let their children go to the same school. But this is why she says education is priority for every country.
In conclusion today, we have talked about how Rwanda has overcome the tragedy and developed more of an education. We have talked about how the AIDS virus has come along, and research has shown to educate people about the epidemic going back in the middle to the 1800s. And we also talked about nuclear weapons and Shizuka's experience around world education. Arigato, gachujito.
ありがとうございました。